in 2010 we passed a constitution that recognized the sovereignty of the people of Kenya. And this sovereignty can be exercised either directly or indirectly through democratically elected leaders. So when we are here, we are just here to exercise our civic duty and implement that sovereign power that we have been given by the Constitution. In the same Constitution, it has emphasized value-based leadership, right from the way we manage, we do governance, to the way we manage land and natural resources, to the way we manage public finance, up to including security. If you check every chapter, it speaks to principles and values that should be adhered to. And among them are public participation, accountability and transparency, equity, devolution of power, among others. This constitution also recognized some of those attributes that we used to refer to them as services. They were transformed to human rights in line with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. We have right to clean, safe and adequate water, the right to the highest attainable standards of health, the right to good housing and clean environment, the right to education and by that quality education. They are all captured as constitutional rights. And the Constitution has also provided an obligation, a normative obligation to government, that as they develop policies or laws, allocate resources, and implement budgets and so on, they need to ensure that we are getting closer to realization of these rights. It talks about progressive realization of the rights captured under Article 43. It also must be remembered that the advent of devolution was informed by the need to have government closer to the people. And government being closer to the people was meant to achieve a number of objectives. Number one, a responsive government. When government is closer to the people, they're able to see the needs of the people, they're able to hear their feedback, they're able to engage them in decision making, and therefore policies are responsive and to some extent pro-poor, because we are coming from a less developed to a developed nation. Then a government that is closer to the people or creating devolved system of governance was supposed to also to enhance accountability. And this is why we are here even today, that being closer to each other and government being accessible, we can ask each other questions as to how far are we in terms of implementing the constitutional promise. So accountable governance has been captured as one of the the objectives or objects of devolution under Article 174. Then again, the question of equity, and I think that we will be speaking to today. Devolution is supposed to achieve that we do annually on the budget. We also have the county assembly being asked to be open and engage citizens in legislation. We also have the sector working groups that are supposed to be created to enable inclusive decision making, and many others. So the governance roundtable is the platform that complements those accountability and participation mechanisms that are provided in the law. So the governance roundtable is supposed to achieve 3 objectives. I'll enumerate them very quickly. Number 1, and that's what we are going to do shortly, is information sharing. And when I say information sharing, it is two-way, exchange of information. There's information we have that could help government in programming and budgeting. There is also information with government that could help civil society in their interventions. So we are here to exchange information in a manner that will make each other more accountable and also make our programs more responsive. Number 2 is to engage. When we go to elections, we enter into a social contract. And in that social contract, it's manifested through the manifesto that is shared by the elected leaders, and is usually mainstreamed in development blueprints. So our role does not end in elections. We also need to continue engaging and asking ourselves, where are we in the dream that we promised ourselves? So this platform provides that opportunity to share challenges that we have observed, best practices. We'll also be able to enumerate some of the things and laud ourselves for it. Why are we sharing best practices? We want to be replicated. For example, if there is something good that is happening in the health sector, we would wish it's replicated in the education sector or any other sector represented here. We are also sharing challenges, but also lessons or areas that we feel if we get interventions, we'll move the dream closer to a reality. So you will see we have summarized our presentation into very concise proposals. And the third objective is to have a deliberation. We might not have everything in the presentation, but we might discuss a few things that we might see of importance to our county. So this forum is non-political, I must say that as at now. So we're going just to deliberate objectively and with the use of evidence and what is actually observable out there. So that deliberation will lead into action planning. What is it that we are going to do to improve the situation as we have seen, if there are any challenges, and replicate those practices.